Yeah, hi, good morning, Rajesh ji.
Yes, good morning.
ये
Thank you for
which
joining.
page?
Okay,
Yeah, which page, which chapter we are reading today? I am
okay, we
joining
are
for
going
first
to.
time. Yeah,
Super,
first time.
super, super. Okay, just we started yesterday. We are going to start a second day. This is the screen what you're seeing. The page number 20 to the third page we are going to start. Okay. Um,
Okay.
so the first day, right? First day we're joining or a big club session.
Yes, yes.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to the big club family.
Thank
We
you.
read together and we read together and discuss every morning with you. It's about our club and
Your voice is not clear, Rajeshji.
oh, why using headset? One
It's
minute. Not here. One minute. Yes. Apart from Anjali, what about others? Are you able to hear me?
now better, now better.
So you can, hope you can hear me.
Again cracking.
One minute. What about now?
Yes, clear, absolutely clear.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining day two of our morning book, Surrounded by Idiots. So yesterday we have started this book, and we have covered that introduction and chapter one and chapter two. The chapter one, communication happens on the listener terms. That was the chapter, and in this chapter he has explained about that short intro of the different colors of uh, people behavior, and then the second chapter he talked about the why are we the way we are. So how we have the childhood habits, how it is incorporating our day-to-day behavior, how it is changing our communication style based on the behavior and behavior, the personality, and also the self-awareness. So these all we have covered in yesterday's chapter. So today we are going to start the third section of that chapter. We are actually getting into that subject from today, an introduction to the system, and we also will cover that the detail about that next one chapter, the red category, that also we can cover it up for today's session. So from today we are actually getting into that the deep of the particular chapter. So stay tuned and be active to the listening, be active whatever we are reading, and after 40 minutes we can start discuss about whatever we have learned today. All set for today's meeting. Let's start.
Yes,
Whoever would
yes.
like, thank you. Whoever would like to read, please go to the chat section and type your name so that we can warmly hand over from one person to one person. Otherwise, we have to stop in between who is interested, who wants to read, that and all we can avoid. Okay, we'll start a little bit, then we can continue further. I'm not able to hear that sound. Can okay, chapter 3, an introduction to the system. At the end of this book, you will find a description of the background to how the DISA system emerged. But since you probably want to dive into its most interesting elements, how everything works in practice, you can just read on. Otherwise, you can always go directly to page number 228. Okay, we can go to 228 later. Let's continue the quadrant: task oriented and issue oriented. The relationship oriented, extrovert active implementer, and introvert passive discer. So that's how he classified all four colors: red, yellow, blue, and green. Okay. So what are the characters of each colors? He mentioned that the particular color and what characters and what they have a characters in it or the sub characters in it. The blue color, analytical, slow reaction, maximum effort to organize, minimal interest in relationships, historical time frame, cautious action, tendency to avoid involvement. Actually, I have to start from that other side. Dominant, red, quick reaction, maximum effort to control, minimal interest for caution in relationships, current time frame, direct action, tendency to avoid involvement. The next one, alone, inspiring, rapid reaction, maximum effort to involve, minimal interest in routine, future time frame, impulsive action, tendency to reject isolation. Stable, which is green color, calm reaction, maximum effort for connection, minimal interest in change, current time frame, supportive action, tendency to reject conflict. So that's how the DISC, DISC, dominant, inspiring, the stable, analytical. That's how the entire chapter covers for each category, each colors. The dominant refers to red, inspiring refers to yellow, stable refers to green, analytical refers blue. As you can see, there are four main categories of behavior types, each of which is associated with a color. This book is about how you can recognize them. Quite soon, as you start reading about the different colors, various faces will come to mind. Sometimes, maybe even your own. About 80% of all people have a combination of two colors that dominate their behavior. Approximately 5% have only one color that dominates behavior. The others are dominated by three colors. Throughout the book, I focus on the single colors individually because they are the fundamental components of a person's behavior. It's like a recipe. We need to understand all the ingredients before we bake the cake. Entirely green behavior or green in combination with one other color is the most common. The least common is entire red behavior or red behavior in combination with one other color. Okay, I will read that each color, what is it's categorized, the red color, which is a dominant, aggressive, ambitious, strong-willed, goal-oriented, pushing, problem solver, pioneer, decisive, innovator, impatient, controlling, convincing, performance oriented, powerful, result oriented, initiator, speed, timekeeper, intense, opinionated, straightforward, independent. Then the yellow, inspiring color, who is talkative, enthusiastic, persuasive, creative, optimistic, social, spontaneous, expressive, charming, full of vitality, self centered, sensitive, adaptable, inspiring, needs attention, encouraging, communicative, flexible, open, sociable, imaginative, easygoing. And the next color, green, patient, relaxed, self control, reliable, composed, loyal, modest, understanding, lengthy, stable, prudent, discreet, supportive, good listener, helpful, producer, persistent, reluctant, thoughtful, conceals feelings, considerate, kind. The last one, the blue, conscientious, systematic, distant, correct, conventional, seems insecure, objective, structured, analytical, perfectionist, needs time, reflecting, methodical, seeks facts, quality oriented, scrutinizes, follows rules, logical, questioning, meticulous, reflecting, reserved. Many people you meet possess qualities that you sometimes wish you had. You may even feel jealous of these people. They easily master things that you struggle with. Maybe you would like to be more decisive like Reds, or maybe you wish it were easier for you to interact with strangers like Yellows. Possibly, you wish that you didn't stress so much, that you could just take it easy like Greens do. And perhaps you wish that you could keep your schedule in better order, something that's natural for Blues. Okay, I think I handled this to Anjali. Please, can you forward from here?
Thank you, Rajesh. And naturally, it works the other way as well. You are going to read things that will help you realize that you too boss others around a bit too much, just like Reds tend to. Too much, sorry. Uh, or that you talk way too much, something that Yellows do. It might be that you take things way too easy, not getting involved in anything, the Green's weakness. Or you are always suspicious of everything, seeing risk everywhere, just like Blues. Here you can learn to see your own pitfalls and how you can take appropriate measures to get around them. No matter what you learn about yourself and others, take notes, underline things, and engage with the material. Chapter 4, Red Behavior. How to recognize a real alpha and avoid getting in his way. What should we do? We'll do it in my way now. This is the behavior type that Hippocrates, in his theory of human temperament, called choleric. Nowadays, you might call a red person bold, ambitious, driven, but also potentially hot tempered, rash, or dominant. You quickly notice a red person because he doesn't make the slightest effort to conceal who he is. A red person is a dynamic and driven individual. He has goals in life that others may find difficult to even imagine. Since his goals are so highly ambitious, achieving them seems to be impossible. Reds strive forward, always pushing themselves harder, and they almost never give up. Their belief in their own ability is unsurpassed. They carry inside them the firm belief that they can achieve anything if they just work hard enough. People who have lots of red in their behavior are task oriented extroverts and they enjoy challenges. They make quick decisions and are often comfortable taking the lead and taking risks. A common perception is that Reds are natural leaders. These are people who willingly take command and go to the fore. They are so driven that they will get through despite any obstacle in their path. Their disposition is ideal in competitive situations. It's not unusual for a CEO or a president to have lots of red in his behavior. This form of competition is present in everything Reds do. To say that they constantly want to challenge and compete is probably not entirely true, but if a chance of winning something arises, why not? The exact nature of the competition is unimportant. It's the competitive element that keeps Reds running on all cylinders. Pele, one of my former neighbors, liked competing so much that he developed entirely new interests just to compete. I like working in the garden, and so I spent quite some time doing so. Pele didn't like gardening, but when he had heard people commenting on my beautiful garden, often enough he finally had enough. He started one project after another, always with a single but very clear objective: to outdo me. He confounded his wife by digging new flower beds, planting a rainbow of unbelievably fabulous plants, and cultivating the lawn to golf course standard. The only thing I needed to do to keep him going was to merely suggest that I would purchase more plants. Then he would go to the local garden center quicker than you could say bad loser. You can also recognize Reds by other behavior patterns. Who talks the loudest? Reds. Who goes out all who goes all out when explaining something? Reds. Who is always the first to answer a question? Reds again. Who during an otherwise pleasant dinner makes categorical comments on just about any topic? And who will judge an entire country based on something he saw on television? Reds. Something is always happening in the lives of red people. They can't sit still. Idle time is wasted time. Life is short. Better get going immediately. Do you recognize the type? Always on the go. So step aside. Let's get cracking. Tell me what you really think. Yes, for real. Reds have no problem being blunt. When asked a specific question, they often say exactly what they think without any frills. They see no need to wrap things up in a bunch of empty phrases. When a thought pops into their heads, everyone knows it immediately. They have opinions on most things, and they trot their thoughts out quickly and efficiently. A common remark is that Reds are very honest because they dare to express their personal truths to people. They don't really understand what the fuss is all about. They have only said things as they are. If you need someone with extra energy, you may want to invite a Red into the team or project group. They fight tirelessly along when others have already given up. If they are determined to succeed, that is. A task that has become humdrum or meaningless could be totally ignored by a Red. I call this phenomenon slog or split. If the task is important enough, a Red will go through fire and water to complete it. If he feels it has no purpose, into the trash it goes. So Red people often see themselves as driven, resolute, ambitious, decisive, competitive, independent, prompt, determined, time conscious, persuasive, strong willed, results oriented. Can I win something? In that case, I am in. So Reds like competing. They appreciate the slight antagonism that is part of being competitive and the glorious moment of winning. They even enjoy winning competitions that probably don't even exist, except perhaps in their own mind. It can be passing a slow walker on the street, finding the absolutely best parking spot, or dominating the family game of Monopoly. Despite the fact that the purpose of this game is to entertain the kids and none of the other adults are actually competing. For a Red, this is all natural because he sees himself as a winner. Let me give you an example. I once worked for a company where the CEO was Red. He was energetic and efficient and consequently incredibly dynamic. No meetings were as short and sweet as those run by the CEO, but his weak spot was the competitive element. As a young man, he had played soccer, and even spring at this particular workplace, they held a soccer tournament. It was very popular even before he joined the company. So, who is next to read?
We can,
Vidya.
we can do Vidya.
Yes, Vidya.
And those who want to lead next, I think we have names. Yeah,
Okay.
Vidya, you can leave for some time. Then we can
Yeah.
move to Anil.
Yeah. Naturally, he had to take part. No other CEO before him had ever done so, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was that as soon as he got out on the field, he became a different person. On fire with his competitive drive, he flattened everyone who stood in his way. This continued for a few years until someone had the guts to tell him that he played just a little too rough. The game wasn't supposed to be that serious. The CEO didn't understand. He grabbed the latest flyer for the game and pointed out that it was called a soccer tournament. Tournaments are competitions, and if you compete, you are in it to win. Simple. He competed in traffic, on the soccer field, in business. No area was too insignificant not to become a competition. He even raced to see how quickly he could finish reading a book. What others do for relaxation, he transformed into a competition. 100 pages an hour was a reasonable pace for him. His wife had even banned him from playing a memory card game with his children, who were 5 and 6 years old. Since they had better memories than he did, they won most of the time, and in his frustration, he intimidated them. Before you conclude that this guy sounds rather unsymptomatic, we need to look at his intentions. This kind of intensive and competitive behavior often upsets other people because they think it is all about dominating and suppressing others. Nothing could be farther from the truth. His intentions were almost never malicious. He just wanted to win. This is one of the greatest challenges for Red. It is not uncommon that other people feel irritated or intimidated by them because they are such powerful personalities. Later on in this book, I will share some simple ways that you can deal with these individuals. Time is money. Quick is synonymous with good for Reds. If you are in a meeting and suddenly notice that one of the other participants is devoting his time to something completely different, it may well be a Red who has lost interest. If you look closer, you will realize that his thoughts are elsewhere on the next step in the process being discussed, for example. Because Reds are quick thinkers, they move on long before everyone else. Few things annoy Reds more than sluggishness. If a meeting or a discussion drags on, he may interrupt and ask if it's really necessary to prolong the issue. We've already discussed this for 20 minutes. Get it together. It's only a few million in investments. How hard can it be? If you think about it, they are often right. When other people may find it difficult to make a decision, Reds are prepared to make a quick decision in order to keep things moving. With a Red on the team, nothing will be discussed ad infinitum. After all, it's always better to do something rather than nothing, right? The advantage is obvious. We are talking about people who never waste time on anything that doesn't move forward. As soon as a task becomes unclear or is taking too long, a red will ensure that the momentum is maintained and spur things along. Chop chop, done in double time. About 15 years ago, I began working for a small consulting company with a dozen employees. It was a polished organization with a great spirit of entrepreneurship and excellent momentum in business dealings. One of the reasons why they were so efficient was because the founder of the company was a red. Nothing could move too quickly for Bjorn. No meeting took longer than was absolutely necessary. In my second or third week in the new job, I was sitting in a traffic jam when my cell phone rang. I looked at the display and saw that it was Bjorn. I answered the way I had been instructed to when I started the company, with a greeting, my name, and the company name. Impatiently, he interrupted me and spit out his question. Were you looking for me? No, I replied, and took a deep breath, ready to say something else. I didn't get the chance. Okay, he said, and hung up. 8 seconds. Unpleasant? Well, at the time, we didn't really know each other. However, I must admit that the whole episode had me worried a little. At at least on that occasion. Only 3 weeks at the company, and the big chief himself calls and sounding irritated. When we had gotten to know each other and I learned that Bjorn was red, I asked him why he was so abrupt on the phone. Of course, he didn't even remember the call, but he said he was probably trying to find out if I was looking for him. When he learned I wasn't, there was no further need to talk. Wasting time on polite, flowery faces or drawn out farewells wasn't for him. But at the same time, here was a person with the capacity to work far more than normal. Bjorn managed to do more in an average working day than most people. He still had an exceptional ability to make the most of any free time. If he had a gap of 5 minutes in his schedule, he manages to squeeze in an email, a phone call, and go through some meeting minutes. From the outside, it may seem like an unnecessary pursuit of efficiency, but a red detests inactivity. Things must happen. Add to this a sense of constant urgency, and a great deal will get done. The sky is the limit, or is it? For a red, a realistic budget is a budget for cowards. If we don't push ourselves to the breaking point, we haven't tried hard enough. Reds love difficult tasks, so their level of ambition is usually boundless. The ability to manage different difficult situations and challenges is the defining attribute of red behavior. When a person with red traits sets his goals, several things happen. First, he wants to know how well a specific task under the most favorable conditions could be performed. If all 19 parameters were met and we all gave it a little extra effort, the result would be phenomenal. This means that anything below the that impossible level of excellence is boring because that's at least a remote possibility of that result being achieved. Nothing is impossible. The impossible just takes a little longer. More than likely, it was a red who came up with that expression. Naturally, it's also about the type of project. Not enough just to set an impossible sales budget. If a red doesn't like sales, he'll ignore the budget. Since he prefers to make all the decisions himself, he probably won't be fooled into doing something he doesn't feel like doing. Reds set higher demands on themselves than any of the other colors would, and they are always prepared to work hard. I wouldn't go so far as to say no other color works as hard as reds do, but I would venture to say that a red would give anyone a run for his money. Ambition, which is intrinsic to Reds, shouldn't be confused with a lust for power. Reds have no problem taking positions of power since they are fearless. Expression like it's lonely and windy at the top don't scare them. But for a red, power is not an end in itself. It does, however, come in handy for those who like to make their own decisions and avoid having to wait for others. A red can, in fact, be quite unassuming. It's true that he has a strong ego, but status and prestige don't have the same importance as with other colors. The reason is simple. A red usually doesn't care what others think. He's not here for their sake. He's here for his own.
Okay, thank you, Vidya. Can we
Thank you.
move to Anil?
Yeah, thank you. Let me tell you how things really are. Red gives everything he has got. When he has an opinion about something, or if he wants the rest of us to agree with him, he pulls out all the stops. Once I was in a meeting with large number of people who didn't know one another that well. It was a gathering of consultants who were meeting to discuss a potential collaboration. It was in the middle of a recession, and we were all concerned about the lack of direction. While we were waiting for the chairperson to arrive, we chatted a little about everything. At one end of the table sat Elizabeth, who had strong opinions about everything. In an unequivocal voice, she suddenly stated that the company was still expected to earn over 50 million a week, despite the recession. About 15 consultants, all highly trained, reflective, and intelligent people, nodded in agreement. Just imagine $50 million per week. While Elizabeth expanded on how the situation ought to be resolved in the consulting world, I began thinking about the figure a little bit, not knowing where these figures came from. I remained silent. It could be true, it could also be far fetched. I honestly didn't know. While waiting for the meeting to begin officially, I started calculating how much $50 million per week would be per year. I didn't have enough paper. After the meeting, I got the answer to my speculations. I was in a taxi on my way to my next meeting when the driver turned on the radio. In the news, it was announced that the company in question was expected to earn between $2 and $2.5 million per week. I realized that Elizabeth had gotten the information from the news. I also understood that $2 or $2.5 million per week was far more realistic than the $50 million that she had referred to. But wait a minute. A little reconciliation with reality is needed here. Why didn't anyone react? No one in the room lifted a finger or called her information into the question. Why? Because she sounded so convincing. Her facial expression was definite. Her countenance was determined, and her voice didn't quiver in the list when she presented her figures. That's the way rats function. When they believe something, they let people know that this is the only truth that exists. Now, maybe there are some sticklers for detail who might claim that this is deceptive. Since we now know that company at $2.5 million a week and not roughly $50 million, but I am convinced that Elizabeth really believed what she said. She had things turned around, no doubt about that, and she was certainly not interested in details. But my point is that by sounding utterly confident when she declared that the company was earning 6 months' revenue per week, we all fell for it. Or, in the words of a good friend of mine, there are two ways to do this, my way or the wrong way. Only deed fish go with the flow. Reds are both groundbreaking and strong willed. Why not also add result oriented and decisive? When we are at it, for Reds, it is not sufficient to do things like everyone else does. And just because it's tough doesn't mean we should avoid doing it. Rats are not afraid to make decisions. When everyone else hesitates, thinking and weighing the risk, a rat makes the controversial decision. A rat's determination is usually unyielding. Once he is decided, then it is a full steam ahead. Their fearlessness dares them to tackle things that make others hesitate. This is usually evident when things get rough and they are undaunted by tough choices or tricky decisions. It is no coincidence that many entrepreneurs are rats setting up new businesses, especially if they are based on completely new business concepts is in our current economy not for the faint of heart. It is not a bad thing to have a force of nature in the driver's seat. It takes a strong mind to move things forward. Someone who understands that risk that are part of everyday's life and that everything boils down to hard work from morning to night for many years. Rats understand this from this beginning and are in no way intimidated by it. Do you need someone to pursue a problem in your apartment complex? Maybe You have gotten on the wrong side of your landlord, who says that there is absolutely nothing wrong with your heat, or maybe the contractor who repaired the roof and installed the new elevators was negligent and won't take responsibility for it. Anytime you try to get things straightened out, you have been brought to standstill by a barricade of unanswered calls and information address. You are just about to give up when you suddenly remember the guy on the second floor living above you isn't he kind of red? Was not he the one who dared to go against the super super at the last meeting and get the stress policy changed? Yes, that's the guy.
Okay, thank you, Anil. Can we hand over to Suman for the summary?
Yeah, thank you. Throw the guy from the second floor into process, and then you will see things begin to happen. You might have to motivate him a little, explaining that he has a lot to gain from it himself, but he will make things happen. He will subdue the landlord and get the contractor in line, and he won't lose any sleep just because someone got angry with him in the process. Generally speaking, a red's strengths are very powerful. They are extremely clear in their communication and don't have to look far to identify red behavior. Of course, over the years, many reds learn to restrain themselves somewhat, but it doesn't usually last very long. They will be back to full throttle and all that entails. It was not better before. Onward and upward. A red doesn't try to stick to his original point of view when he realizes that a better solution exists. He is a quick thinker and has no problem shifting his ground at short notice. One of the advantages of this is that he doesn't reject other people's ideas if he has none himself. It is worth looking into anything that can propel development forward. Sometimes decisions can come a little bit too quickly, but the will to constantly change creates a strong dynamism and flexibility. If anything has been static for a long time, maybe for a few weeks, he will turn things up a notch. Some people may find this stressful, but when you ask a red why he changed something that was actually working, the answer could well be because I could. Naturally, there are also downsides. Reds get bored with the status quo quickly and so they change it. The people around them have no idea what will happen next. When green and blues have just gotten used to the new organization and think they have finally grasped how things are supposed to work, well, a red will have already outlined the next step. Conclusions of red behavior. So, what do you think? Do you know any reds? Do you have any around you? If you want to get to know some famous red people, consider Steve Jobs, FDR, Venus Williams, or Margaret Thatcher. There is also Barack Obama and Mother Teresa. Oh, yes, it's true. If you consider Mother Teresa's deeds, the strength she needed and whom she had to deal with, the world's foremost leaders to achieve what she did, and then you will realize that she was extremely determined and forceful, a typical red profile. Yes, we have to read this chapter also.
No. I think we time is 7:43. We are up to for today's reading. Thank you so much, everyone. Anjali, Vidya, Anil, Suman for the wonderful reading. Let's have a discussion for today's session. Okay. So today we have discussed detail about the one chapter, the one color, the red color. Now, I just want to ask everyone, after reading that red color, how many of you feel the red is a dominant color in your character or in yourself? Anyone who is the red dominant? Yeah, I think as others said, we all mix of all colors, but there is something one color will be the dominant color. Do we have any red dominant color person? As when you read, okay, hey, this is, I think this character, whatever he has explained in the chapter, it seems or it's applied to my character. I can relate with this. Anyone? No? Ah, surprise.
No. I think Rajesh, I feel I was a person like this, full of energy. And one thing I agree to that either my decision or the wrong, it is my way or the wrong way. So they are the choices I often give to my family members, and that is what resonates to me the most. But yes, I feel there was that kind of energy, and I would also get bored with sitting idle. And I'm not a person who sits idle. I have always something running around in the mind. But with time now, it changes or it slows down. That is also like the author has mentioned that there are mixed colors. No one is same color or same personality. So it is a mixed type. And now with time and that energy or that what we can use the word arrogance also now. Now we have become little subtle or little ease with ease. Now we start adjusting with other people or we start listening to them. And that is also one thing correctly pointed out, that when we are without any idea, we prefer listening to others, taking ideas from others. So that is also a trait it resonates with me. That is it.
Yeah, thanks, Anjali, for accepting that. I think you were the red people, the red color in the past, and your way. I think I like that part. Your way or that my way or the wrong
Wrong
way.
way. Yes. That I still follow.
Okay.
It's
Some
either my
people,
way or wrong way.
some people always say that my way is a highway.
Yes.
I hear from some people also whatever they decide something that is what the right, and expecting people others to follow as well, whether it's a family or organizations and everywhere.
Yeah, it works in the family most.
Yeah,
Good
I think
morning to
when
all.
yeah.
Yeah, even I totally belong to the color of red.
Oh,
And
super.
as she has told, I may skip into the other colors, but right now I'm in total red. So yeah,
Like, so by
that's it.
seeing, okay, that's very interesting. Know that I think you are completely read that, and today we have read something red category. What you feel, okay? What are the things you feel? Hey, by being a red color or the showing expressing my that color, what you are achieving, or what the things are getting done, and what are the problems you are facing with engaging with people? Could you please share some insights of that?
Yes, I'm facing so many things around, but in all the directions, few of them they totally avoid me because for them I look like very intimidating personality. And to become the red personality, also, I'll be very well prepared. Like most of the groups I organize, I coordinate with them, I try to walk with them. But directly or indirectly, I mean, it's not a conscious thing, but directly or indirectly, I would take the lead. And for that, I really work in a very authentic way. I mean, I will be ready to take the judgments from the other side. And as much as possible, I'll take a very standard protocol to coordinate a group or to conduct any session or anything as such. So I have groups of people. Few groups they feel envious. Few groups they really adore me because there is one person to lead and make the group happy and cheerful. So people who don't want me, they will not allow me to get into their groups because they have the fear that I may take the lead and coordinate things. So they don't want that as such. So and few other people they welcome me very well because I make the group very cheerful and very healthy. This thing as well. So yeah, I've seen many groups, and yes, repercussions will also be the same way. It will be extremely positive or extremely negative also. So
Yeah, yeah. So the people, those who accept you, feel okay. They feel like okay, yeah, he's a person to work with, or the person's goal to person. The person is
yes,
opposite to this one. Oh, I cannot work this one. I cannot go and talk to this person, or I cannot
yes,
engage with this person. That is what
Yes,
extreme this side or that side. That is what we
yes.
face with these people. But actually, when you are leading, or when you are leading in organizations, or when you are leading in a group or something, I think one must have these characters. One must have these qualities, whatever we have read in this red category. But same times today, if you see, there was one the CEO approach the soccer game. Had he was good at the business, but the problem with him, he was approaching the same way in the game as well. And the winning attitude, wherever the person is there, I have to win. Even that it's a small game. Even I think I supply very funny to see that message. Even the wife stopped to play with the kids. Where he also, I think he wants to dominate the kids as well. He wants to win the game. Sometimes we see people, those who are having that red category, always try to win, or always try to be the highlighted, or always to be the trend, and they expect that they have to lead, that they have to, the voice has to be heard. Anyhow, I think we have today we have read around three different characters. Then John, and the one is the one.
But then
How,
we should also have the clarity, Rajesh, that it's like in certain groups, there would also be few people who are totally experienced than me. They may be young at my age, but then they are very well experienced and they are far matured than us. So definitely at that instant, I would totally accept myself that this is a personality who is more matured than me, and this particular person knows more coordination and more the skills to make the group happy. So immediately I'll come down and accept myself. But then there would be few situations where they try to show off their arrogance. I mean, for coordinating a group and to make the people happy, you need not show how rich you are. You should have that that empathy and handling the people's emotions and all that. They really lack all that, and they would try to show off their arrogance. So for that kind of personalities, I'll give a nice counter for them. Maybe as the age advances, I would come down, but then this is the real condition flowing in my heart. So it's like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Pranavi. Thank you for sharing your real experiences and how you handle people. What
So
about others? Anyone?
yeah,
Any
yeah,
announcement? Yeah.
Rajesh. So actually, I am not a red person, but I had experienced my ex-manager. So he was completely the red person. What I today I read the attributes and qualities of a red person, that he was having all those qualities: aggressive, ambitious, strong-willed, not predictable. He will behave differently in the meeting. And outside meeting is that he, when we have the one-to-one interaction, he will behave differently. Even in the meeting, he will be the completely the different person. Sometimes he will shout, he will show the arrogance during the meeting. He will just not care if the business objective and the plan is not delivered, then he will not listen. No one matters for him. So all those qualities that he was having. So I just can relate the this topic with my ex manager. So only that I want to mention here.
Yeah. Thanks, Anil, uh, for sharing your experience with your manager. Yes. We see this one. This is what I think the purpose of reading this book also. When we sometimes we get annoyed by seeing some different people, different color, different characters. Why this person is expressing and why I'm behaving very gentle, but the person is not behaving gentle, but that they are not in your category, or they are in a completely different world. When we understand the colors, then we can change our approach. We can change our the methods, or we can change our patterns to handle such people. That will make our relationship or the connectivity with the people in a better way. Anyone else? Suman, would you like to share something?
Yes, yes. At the starting of the chapter, when the adjectives, all these attributes and qualities were introduced, I was taking red as the danger sign, and the all the attributes were negative. But as we went through the chapter, it was eye-opening for me. And but somehow I was relating that some of these qualities are in me also. But uh, I think these are the qualities that everyone aspires for. Yes, that should be somewhere in balance also, but that all the leaders and the examples were given, Steve Jobs, Mother Teresa. That was really amazing. Yes.
Yes, Suman. Thank you. So how you change your perspective when you are seeing that the rate, you have something negative thoughts about it, but when you read the complete things, you understand, okay, these are the good qualities or good characters. Sometimes you also misunderstand some people by seeing something, some one incident or some one reactions. We portray that this person may be wrong person, or this person is something not able to approach. But when we understand what is the real intent or why they are doing it, then we are able to connect with them.
Yes,
So
very
we
true.
don't need
And
to judge them by one incident or one reaction. If the person said, we don't know that if the person's intent is something good and the way they express is something different way, we can accept it. Any other thoughts? That's good. I think I'm so happy that people have a different perspective and different sharing and different experiences. Really, it's
Yeah,
good.
like Anil was mentioning, I too had a manager who he was the CEO of the company. He was a complete red, and his moods were so mercurial. They just kept changing. You never knew whether he was going to uh, how he was going to take a particular news. Sometimes it would be in a very mature and methodical, very in a very listening mode. Other times he will immediately start questioning and he'll become very aggressive. So he was a little, I would say that, to deal with his moods was one of the things I felt was like, that's why I felt that, he was not afraid to ask the pertinent questions. He was not afraid to talk about uncomfortable topics, but he never had a kind of a limit that, okay, I should do it in this, I should not do it in this forum, maybe I should do it separately. Nothing like that. It would just come out, and if it a question had to be asked, he would just ask. He would not really worry about who else is there and what they will think about him and all those things. So it was a very interesting a relationship. We had a very good one-on-one relationship, but his way of taking decisions and his way of not sugarcoating anything was like quite interesting to see, because other managers and all, they usually talk about it in a very abstract way, in a more diplomatic way, but this guy was like giving it the way he thought it would be. So he is a natural leader. They take, from his experience, I would say that he used to take charge, push things forward, solve problems, and ensure that, if there is something that is not working, try to solve it. Very efficient, focused, courageous, confident, all lots of good qualities. But at the same time, it it was a little, I'm not a red person, so it was a little intimidating for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Vidya. I think you differentiate from the leader when he was expressing the, and you are able to figure out that positive things. I think whatever he expressed, if you take this as a negative side of the person is very aggressive, you wouldn't
No,
be
no,
able to
there are
connect with.
plenty of positive aspects
Yeah.
to every color. It's
Hmm.
just that, when we are working with somebody who is a different color, how do we, work with them such that it becomes a good working relationship is what is important, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Jim, I think today we have completely read about that red colors or the red characters. Now you can figure out when you are going to approach or when you're going to meet someone, whether it's the family or face or the social, you can differentiate by expressing their voices or the characters and the discussions. You can figure out, okay, these persons the right persons. Okay, now how I have to change my communications, or are you going to the same aggressive way, or you are going to the different approach. So that will help us to make them, that will help us to connect with them more closely. Anyone, those who have not shared the thoughts, please, would you please, I, this is the place we can hear everyone's voice, everyone experience. Those who want to share your experience, please unmute yourself and share your thoughts. Please correct me if I'm talking too much. Please you correct me. I will also try to reduce. Okay. Any Manish ji, Deepa ma'am, Viren, Vivek, anyone? Take just 1 minute. for sharing your thoughts. Yes, Manish, would you like to share something? I see you have unmuted.
Actually, I wanted to ask you. Actually, I was in a yoga class, so I couldn't connect today.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine, no problem. I will share you that summary. Please, you go through that summary and understand about today's discussions. Yeah, I think I will close it this. Today we have read that the red category. The Reds are strong, fast, and decisive. They are the natural leaders who thrive on challenges. They value control, goals, and results above all about everyone. The weakness, I think everyone has some weaknesses. The weakness is impatience and lack of sensitivity to others' emotions. To work with red people, be confident, direct, and outcome focused. So this way, this approach, it will tackle them or it will connect them to handle the red people. Okay, with this, we come to end of today's session, and we are going to close this today's session at sharp at 8 p.m. And I will share the summary of today's session. Please, you go through that and you join tomorrow morning sharp at 7 a.m. to continue to know the different colors what his author is talking about. Thank you everyone for joining today. See you all tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Rajesh, and
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajeshi. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
It's a great session. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hello, Rajesh.